this video, we're going to show how to calculate the payments on a adjustable rate mortgage, otherwise known as an ARM. This ARM has interest rate caps, both on an annual basis and on an overall basis. So we'll see how that plays into our calculations. As it notes down here, the key point with the ARM is that every year everything changes about the mortgage, so we have to recompute when we recompute our payment, we have to basically recompute a bunch of different things because the remaining loan amounts and terms like that, those are the things that are used going forward. Okay, so the thing that makes ARMs quite different from the fixed rate mortgage, of course, is that their interest rate adjusts. So let's just go up here and say interest rate calculation, right? So there's three calculations. Calculation one is going to be your index plus margin minus your teaser to get your net rate. Option number two is going to be your annual cap. And then option number three is going to be the periodic cap. All right. And so with that there, I can put on here years 1, year 2, year 3, since we're looking at this over 3 years. And so the problem states that the margin is 2.75% each year. So we can go ahead and put that in there. I'll do it in decimal terms each year. And then in order to do this, we have to have a forecast of the underlying index. And so we see here that it's going to be 3.25 for years 1 and 2, and then 3.5. So again, these are just projections. No one knows for sure, but this is their best guess at the time, right? And so teaser rate refers both to this net reduction, this 150 basis points, as well as the net rate that results. Most people would refer to it as the deduction or the reduction, and that's how I'm going to use it. And so that's 150 basis points. So basically, easy way to remember your basis point is that 150 just divided by it's 0.01. So a basis point is a basis point is 1/100th. Then 50 basis points would be that times 150, which is still wrong. So the teaser rate is going to be 150 basis points. So in other words, that's 1.5%. And so that the net index plus margin minus the teaser for the first year is 4.5. I guess I'll just go ahead and make these into percentages so that it matches. All right, let me draw a line right there. And so this is usually only for the first year. It could be for the first 3 months, first quarter, first 6 months. It may not be there at all. But if you do have it, that's how you would calculate index plus margin minus teaser is the first year. And then for the other years, it's just index plus margin. The teaser goes away. So in other words, you would expect the teaser to last more than that first year, so you can kind of block that out. All right. So this is what the lender would like to do. However, we have annual and periodic caps. So the first year, these don't exist. So I'm going to black those out. Because what the annual cap says here, it says that in any 1 year, the interest rate can increase 1%, can increase by more than 100 basis points or 1%. And so this 4.5%, that's going to be your actual rate for year 1. In year 2, the annual cap says it can't be more than a 1% increase. More than a 1% increase to that rate. It can't be more than a 1% increase right here plus that rate. So that is your rate plus 1% is 5.5. That's the most that can be that first year. Periodic cap says that it cannot exceed 5% over the net rate from your first first year. All right. So the periodic cap for the life of this loan under these assumptions is 9.5. Now, different lenders do this different ways. Sometimes they say that, okay, the cap doesn't apply to the teaser, which means basically that you get rid of this teaser, and says, okay, they say, okay, well, the cap is really 11%. Some lenders base the caps on the net rate after the teaser. That's how we'll do it. That's how the book presents it. So that's how we're going to go. But just know that every lender does things slightly differently. So there's no universal rule about that. Okay. All right. So in year 2, what's going to happen is index plus margin is the rate, but this rate cannot exceed these caps. If it does, then the cap is the actual rate. So we see that this 6% violates the annual cap increase. So in year 2, this is the actual interest rate. In year 3, we say, okay, here's index plus margin, here's our periodic cap, it's this thing, and then our annual cap, again, it can't be more than a 1% increase, so 6.5. So the loan wants to be index plus margin. That's what it wants to do. But if it violates these two, then it becomes the lesser of these two. So it wants to be 6.25. That's less than the annual cap, and so it's fine, right? So the actual interest rates for our 3 years are 4.5, 5.5, and 6.25 based on these projections and the other information given in this problem. Okay, so with that, we can say rate. I might just put it right here. So rate is going to be 4.5, 5.5, and 6.25. All right, we're going to need the beginning balance each year, and so we're also going to need months remaining in the mortgage, and then finally we can compute our monthly payment each year. So let's fill in what we can. The beginning balance, we see that the loan amount, initial amount, is $100,000. So we'll put that in there and format that, make sure that that's correct. Months remaining. When we start the loan, since this is a 30-year mortgage, we have 360. The next year, 12 months will pass, and then the next year 12 months will pass. So each time this months remaining is going to decrease by 12 months because we've now changed years. Okay. And so we'll have to compute these, and then we're going to have to, of course, compute our payment, which is what we're interested in. I'm just going to highlight that yellow. Okay. So given this information, I can highlight the monthly payment in that first year, and then we can go on and compute my beginning balance for year 2, which is my ending balance from year 1. Okay. So computing the payment, which is just your standard computation. Your rate divided by 12. In present value, 0 future value. So our payment is $506.69. My beginning, so looking at year 2, my beginning balance for year 2 is my ending balance from year 1. So the way that we're going to compute that is an outstanding mortgage balance calculation. And again, remember to use the rate that was in effect during that first year. And so the number of payments remaining is a 30-year mortgage, and only 1 year went by. So there's 29 years of payments that we're calculating, and the payment amount was right there. Future amount was 0, and so we calculate that amount is the ending balance in year 1. So that's beginning balance in year 2. I have my rate in months remaining in there, so I can again go ahead and compute your monthly payment divided by 12. In present value, future value, 0. So that's my monthly payment in year 2. And then we're almost done. To compute my monthly payment in year 3, I still need this beginning balance in year 3, and that's going to be the outstanding mortgage balance in the year 2. So compute outstanding mortgage balance using the rate that was in effect during year 2, and number of years now remaining. It's the number of payments that we have made. 30 years, 2 years have gone by, So that's times 12. And oh, you need to do that. So 30 minus 2 times 12. Payment there. Oops. Payment right here. 0 future value. And we get that. And so now we can use this. This is our beginning amount for year 3. We can now compute your payment as usual. So rate divided by 12. Your in present value, and we get 611.85, which is exactly the same payments that we get here are the payments you see there. So again, ARM's very detailed calculation. Everything in it changes. The rate is going to be different. Your beginning balance is going to be different each year, and then your end is going to be different each year. So each year you're going to have to recalculate everything. And again, everything depends on a forecast of that base index rate and what that will be. So that's how you compute your ARM, and I hope this video has helped. Thanks for watching.